Hey everybody, it's Brett, and it's Sunday night, so I guess we're doing a Sunday night live. And I guess I just needed someone to talk to because I'm in a new state of being. I'll describe it to you as good as I can. Hey, Shal, it's good to see you. Basically, I can't stand extremes anymore. So I stopped watching baseball. I couldn't stand watching the players get hit and injured by 100-mile-an-hour fastballs anymore. It just bothered me too much, as do other extreme things. I can't even think. I had a bad dream a little while ago, and I don't know exactly what it was, but it had to do with that. And I just kind of woke up abruptly, And we're going to have a full moon. No, I can't even remember what it was. We're going to have a full moon eclipse. All I can tell you is that it had to do with something with me feeling bad about joining a group in Spanish Fork, Utah. The other day, I joined a group in Spanish Fork, Utah. And I told them something that's been really important to me to tell people in my hometown area. Spanish Fork is right next to Payson. And I think that my grandpa wants me to tell those people in Utah County that there's no way in hell that he'd ever have voted for Donald Trump, as Republican as he is. I feel that with myself, but I just feel that I'm connected to him. And I feel that, and I've told many people there, like the owner of the Napa Auto Parts store there that used to be his grocery store. I told the manager anyway there, when Trump first got elected in 2016, I told him there's no way in hell my grandpa would ever vote for such a low-life pile of shit. And so anyways, I joined this group and the admin was gone, I guess. And I told them that. And a crap load of people all gave me a thumbs up and approval in Spanish Fork, Utah, where my grandpa owned the other store. I think he actually owned 3 of them, 3 grocery stores. And a lot of people remembered my grandpa. A lot of people worked for my grandpa. But the dream was something about feeling bad that I joined that group and created a big hoopla. Something about that. But as soon as the admin saw it, they blocked me off the group. Somebody said that it was inappropriate to post that kind of a post on the Historical Society group for Spanish Fork, Utah. But it was kind of cool to hear from people. A second cousin of mine, one of my grandma's nephews, I think, mentioned that he was a second cousin of mine, something like that. And then all these people that had worked at the store either mostly after Grandpa had sold it in the early 70s, but other people that had worked there before too. So, yeah, that's what it was about. And really, the main thing is that I'm changing to where I can't stand polarity, too much extreme polarity anymore. And I don't know how far that will go. It's just kind of like a roller coaster ride where I just hang on. That's what my whole life has been. I just I just keep flowing. I just keep going, what else can I do? But some people they just have these very non-changing lives. They have lives where they live a life like their parents lived and their grandparents lived. They get married, they have a few kids, they live in the same town. They might not even leave that freaking town. It's crazy. There are people around here like that. Like, because this place where I live, the word is heritage. Heritage high, da 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 da. And so it's all about staying the same. I'm such a total black sheep here in a huge sheep, a huge flock of white sheep. I'm one little speck of black in the white. Yeah, it's a challenge. A lot of the times I think that I just want to escape, but I know that that's not the probability. It depends on, I don't know. There's so many factors. You can be a person that's different. I'm not the most extreme example of that. I am definitely, without any doubt, I am definitely an example, an oddball example here. But there are people that are a lot more advanced than I am, living in a lot more primitive places, I guarantee you. And the only way those people can survive is to stay way under the radar, way under the radar. They don't make themselves, known to be who they are. They don't tell anyone who they are if they're like a really advanced spiritual guru person. They only allow God to send people to them here and there when they're ready. Otherwise, they'd get killed, just like Jesus did. They'd be dead because it's too much of a challenge. See, the thing, people are here just like all the other animals. They're just trying to survive. And if there's a threat against them, especially, like people are primitive. Okay? People are primitive. And they need their materialism, and they need their money, and they need their this, and they need their that, all these things that aren't sustainable. And they probably know that. But they're just not advanced enough to be happy with simple things. So they have to protect them by killing people like Boeing, like Like, oh, they're gonna try and take our he's trying to take our company down by exposing all our crap. So they'll hire some hitman to knock them off. And so that's mostly what I have to do here, you know. And I'll go out and put my diet flyer out. I walked around town and put out about 50 of them the other day. If I feel rambunctious, I'll go out and I'll be like bragging about my accomplishments and stuff, you know. It's not just all like me trying to help people. It's also me bragging because I get pissed off about the whole ordeal. Like I feel like I'm picked on or something. But I at least need to go have some fun once in a while with the whole thing. You know? I get a kick out of telling people that I haven't eaten any processed food for 34 years. They look at me like, are you kidding me? Oh my God. Because they can tell. They can tell that I haven't. I mean, I don't look too good tonight. I mean, because my face and my head, my freaking head is healing. My brain, my face, my skin, my ears, my sinuses, my throat, and my extremities have been healing for a long time. And right now it's amped. Right now it's amped up, but they can still tell because I'm not fat. You know, I'm not bloated and fat like everyone else at 60 years old. I actually have color in my skin. When I was out walking around, I decided to go. I'm walking home and I had about 6 flyers left, right? And I'm walking past the McDonald's. It's 3 blocks from here. It's freaking crazy how many people are in that line. It splits into a double line of cars around that thing. So anyways, when I went over there the other day, there wasn't anybody there in line. It was weird, and I don't remember exactly why. It must have been an off time. But I walked up to the first order window, right? It's the order window where I think the woman's just taking the money or something. Yeah. Yeah. People, they're all addicted to McDonald's. So I walk up to the window and the girl slides the glass over and I said my spiel, you know. Hi, I'm Brett and I've been studying natural diet for 34 years. I put everything on this one piece of paper front and back. Would you like one? I get such a kick out of saying that. I haven't eaten any processed food for 34 years. Anyways, she looked at me as many do in kind of like a, you know, bewilderment. And she says, okay, you know, like kind of like, well, I guess it can't hurt. I'll probably just throw it away. But then I walked to the other window that was closer to where you pick up, well, the one where you pick up the food, I guess. And they didn't want one. So I walked around and went in the front doors, you know. And this kid is standing there. And the first window, she didn't look too unhealthy. She didn't look healthy, but she didn't look too unhealthy. The second one, they didn't look good at all. They looked like the Pillsbury Doughboy. Their skin was so pasty. And they just have this, like, especially when I walked around and I came in, the people there, they looked like the Walking Dead. I don't think I've ever seen anybody. And, you know, I've gone to fast food restaurants and handed out the flyers before. And they're mostly young people, so they're usually not too sickly yet. But this McDonald's, it's one of the sickliest, nauseating, the looks on their faces and the obesity and the skin color and their eyes and everything. Oh my God. And this kid, especially the kid that was at the front, he was only about 19 or something. He looked horrible. And he wasn't fat. He was really skinny. And I asked him if he wanted, I told him the spiel. I asked him if he wanted one. He didn't want one. So I left, but you know, my life is so weird. To me, it's weird. To me, it's still weird. So I've been mostly just working on various projects. I'll show you the latest. Well, you know, the shoes, making shoes has been a thing that I've been doing for a long time. Well, I finally really, I think, figured out how to do it, and I'll show you that. I'm not sure if I showed you the molds that I made, but here they are. So I adjusted these today. That's why they have the white on there, because this one's covered. They're both covered with shellac, except for where I kind of patched this one up today. So they're just made with paper tape and a piece of thick cardboard. That's my foot. That's the outline of my foot. And then I put on some socks and cut a whole bunch of pieces of paper tape, like what I used to ship with, you know. And I started paper macheing around the socks, inside his socks, holy socks. And I started paper macheing around my foot to create a mold. That's my feet. So now I can use these. They're hard, like wood, because they are wood. Or wood and water glue, just like the lick stamps. So now I can use these to make shoes over and over and over and over again until, you know, because you poke pins in them. I mean, they can get pinholes in them sometimes because you have to pin the material on the outside. So right now they're drying. I've got 6 coats of latex on these now. So this is what they look like. May look like kind of like regular shoes, don't they? See, the coat is not dry yet. That's the 6th coat of latex on the bottom. And you coat the latex up to there. But these are made out of 16-ounce hemp, so they're practically indestructible. And then they've got wool for the lining. And then the base is wool. And then they'll have my orthotics on the inside, which look like this. And want to get right now, when I have them sitting to dry, I put them on this glass recycling jar. It's just a field day salsa jar. And I just stick them like that, and put them on the counter. So you can see them there. Here's the inserts for the orthotics. So the base on the insides of those already have 1/4 of an inch of wool. Then they'll have another 1/4 of an inch of wool. So that'll be a full 1/2 an inch of wool. And I'll show you that hemp if you want to see it. Here's the lining. It's just from a wool blanket that I've been using to make shoes with and other things. And then here's the hemp. I bought 1 yard of the brown and 1 yard of the green. And it's about it's really expensive. It's about $35 a yard. But I've got enough of this to make shoes for God knows how many, probably till I'm dead. Here's the green. It's like an olive green. And the last pair of shoes, I learned a lot from them. I'll show you those. These shoes, I learned that I have to have that mold. So I tried to make them without the mold. Yeah, they're kind of cool. These were learner shoes. Now on the next pair, I'm going to make patterns, just like, when you make a shirt or a pair of pants or whatever, you make patterns for the pieces. The next pair, I'll make patterns for those molds so that I can just use those every time. And I think that it's going to be really pretty easy to make shoes. It's kind of time consuming. Thanks. Yeah, I tried those on, not these. Not these. These are okay, I guess. But I learned that I can't put the orthotics. These have the orthotics built in. That's no good. They need to be able to be removable. So that's what those are going to have. And then those have those are built around the molds. So building around the shoe around the mold is so much easier. It's so simple. After I learned the sequencing of how to put them together from the bottom up and just keep building onto the shoe, it's really easy. And I think that what I'm going to do is, since it's not really something, it's a time consuming thing. that people can do. I mean, you could do it and sell shoes to people locally, people that would be willing to pay you like $400 for a pair, at least 300, because as for the first pair, for making the mold and everything, it would take a lot of time. After you make the mold, it's not too bad. You know, it takes 2 hours roughly for each shoe, at least an hour for each of those wooden molds to make these. But then after you've made them, you don't have to make them anymore. You just use these over and over and over again. But it's something that's just the coolest project for you. It's like paper mache, and it's like art. Like you could buy the hemp, and you could do it in different cotton. You could do it in cotton if you wanted, but it wouldn't be near as durable. But you could do it with canvas. But that hemp comes in about 5 or 6 different colors, including blue and red. And the outer pieces that you use. Oh, yeah. And these will be so freaking durable. Now, these have leather, as you can see. And I punched the holes. That's how this is going to be for the new shoes, those holes. And I'll just use these laces. And if I want, I can put a tongue on the top underneath the laces. That's easy. So they can be essentially just like a regular pair of Nikes. I mean, if you want, you could even cut yourself a Nike symbol and glue it right on the side, because that's what you use. You use latex rubber to glue the whole thing together. And you don't need a sewing machine. That's the kicker. You don't even need a sewing machine. I'll show you what you need to make these things. Okay. So you need binder clips sometimes. You need latex glue, and you need a strong material and binder clips. To make the molds, you need the paper tape and water with a sponge. You need pins, sewing pins, with a little round thing on the back. You need sewing pins, a whole bunch of them. And you need clothespins sometimes. And scissors. You need scissors. I mean, and you got to buy latex, and you need an applicator. Okay, so you need your latex glue, and to make a pair of shoes, you probably need about 6 of those. So you probably need a 32-ounce thing. They sell them, or a 16-ounce. One of those 16-ounce things of latex. And the other thing is, here's another thing. You can buy latex in different colors too. Okay, so if I wanted to, I could cut pinstripes out of the red material, and just latex them all over this in different colors. I could do red, blue. I could do little pinstripes all over. I could put a Nike symbol. I could put a star. You can glue anything you want to with latex onto this, and it doesn't come off. If you wanted to get it off with a pair of pliers and you tried to rip it off with some heavy duty vice grips, okay, and you try to get this off of there, good luck. It don't come off. After it's glued on there, it don't come off ever. It won't come off. You can't get it off. I tried to get, like, it took me, I had to, out of these also have the wool on the inside, and it was rubbing on my toe too much in that, see up in there? Up in there, it was rubbing on my toe too much. So I took these pliers, right? And I started trying to rip the wool out of the toe of that. Do you know how hard it is to get that off of there? Wool. Rip the wool out of the toe of this. It was a son of a bitch. It was so hard. So if you think you can get that hemp unglued from that hemp, good luck. And this stuff, it's like freaking natural, you know, it's marijuana, it's hemp, it's the fibers from pot. But it's not the, you know, the hallucinogenic type. It's the kind that has very little THC in it that they make the whatchamacallit out of. Anyway, so they make this amazing 16.5-ounce material out of it. It's like natural, there's a material that's extremely strong, and I can't remember the name of it. Anyways, if I make this rubber really thick, so I'm not sure if you remember this, but with these, I created a little swimming pool edge around the side so that I could pour it thick. I could pour the latex in there thick. The problem with that is it doesn't dry right. It's crazy that natural things take a lot of time to do. But one of the cool things with this is that you have to keep putting the layers of latex one coat on like every hour. And so I've got my timer set and I've got 20 minutes. In 20 minutes, that coat, that last coat will be dry, and I got to put another coat on there. And you don't want to wait too long in between coats because you want it sticky so that it glues, so that it bonds the last coat to the next coat. And you just keep doing that like every 1 or 2 hours. So that's right, tonight I have to get up. And I usually get up to pee because I'm constantly detoxing every 2 hours. So that'll be okay every 2 hours. But you don't want to wait longer than that. So when I'm like half asleep tonight and I get up to pee, I have to wake up for the next 2 nights and put a coat of latex on the bottom of those shoes. So I'll have to do that 3 or 4 times before I get up in the morning. And then all throughout the day tomorrow, every hour, on the hour, another coat until it's about that thick, about probably 3/16 thick. Yeah, right. I'll be walking around. I'll probably spill the latex all over the place in the middle of the night. But like, look at this. I had to sand this down, this one. This is an older pair of shoes, and I can still wear these. They've got buckles. They got these big brass buckles on them. But look how thick that is. That's some serious thick leather or rubber. It is so hard. And look how it doesn't crack. See, it won't crack. This is natural latex. Natural latex is like a bouncy ball. And it won't crack like a Vibram sole. These have really thick leather. You can tell they look like something my ancestors wore 200 years ago. And so do these. But not these. Look at that. That looks like a regular shoe, sort of. Wait till these are completely done, and I might put a tongue. Might put a tongue in them. These are gonna, I don't think people will notice that these are even handmade shoes, maybe if they look. If they really look, then they probably will. But you can glue damn near any kind of decor, anything that you want on these. Okay, I'll show you another thing that I'm working on. You know that leather sewing machine that I bought? It's called a Singer Patcher. It's a 1955. Right there. That one, you can move the hand wheel. See the hand wheel on the side? You can move that to the front as an option. And that's so that you can easily turn the wheel. But here's the thing. All Singer sewing machines, the wheel that's on the side of them that connects to the drive shaft, the axle, it's a weighted heavy wheel, especially for this one. I took it off the other day and I had to use a gear puller. Okay, I had to go rent a gear puller from the automotive supply, Advance Auto. And it's because it had been on there since 1955 and it didn't want to come off. So I pulled it off of there and I weighed it. That wheel weighs 10.5 pounds. Okay. When you move it to the front, you have to put a separate, I had to buy some sewing parts from Trojan Sewing in the UK. So there's this, so that machine comes from Scotland. There was a big Singer factory in Scotland for a long, long time. And so the parts, they're not from Scotland. They're from China now, but they're sold by this guy a couple of different places in the UK. And so I bought all these parts to be able to put the wheel on the front. But then when I put the wheel on the front, the machine didn't run as good. I can feel it with my feet. And I'm a member of this group for that sewing machine on Facebook. And I told everybody in that, and they're like, nah, you're a dream. That's totally not right. It works just as good. But I know I'm right. I can feel it. I can move the wheel back and forth. It only takes, all you have to do is unscrew 2 little screws. And if you move it off the drive shaft onto the other part that has a gear, it connects with a gear. And you buy that gear and then you put it on a shaft and then you install it with a hub onto the front of the machine. And here's the reason why it doesn't work as good as when it's directly on the shaft. The inertia that's created by that 10.5 pounds, when it's taken away from from the main drive shaft and put farther away from the main drive shaft. The farther away from that drive shaft it gets, the less efficient the weight of that moving. See, when you're pedaling, see, it's a treadle machine. See the treadle on the bottom? And then it's got a big leather belt. It's got a big leather belt on the side that you put on there. And when you're treadling with your feet, you can really feel the difference between the weight of that wheel. See, when you're treadling, it's the weight of that wheel that keeps the machine, the inertia that keeps the machine going. Whether it's this big machine or it's a smaller home singer machine, treadle machine, it's the weight of the wheel on the side that keeps the machine moving. In addition to, so you get it going by pulling it with your hand and then treadling with your feet. But the inertia of that weight of the wheel is what helps it to keep steady. And when you take the wheel off and you put it on the front, see, none of the other machines have that option to put the wheel on the front. This is a special machine. It's a cobbler's machine. And very few people, only the shoe repair guys had them. There's thousands of them out there, but they were only owned by shoe repair guys. But after World War II, the trend became to just throw shoes away. They started inventing all of the plastics, all these different plastics to be able to make throwaway shoes. Like when I was a kid, we had Keds, you know? And so then people just threw shoes away and they didn't need them repaired anymore. And so they stopped making patchers. But there's still, the freaking thing weighs like 100 pounds or something. It's ridiculous. Well, anyway. This machine is very unique, and I'll tell you why. Oh, before I tell you why it's unique, I'll show you what I'm going to do. Instead of putting the heavy wheel in the front, I'm going to leave the heavy wheel on the side where it belongs and put a wooden wheel. So I got on Google and I looked up 9-inch wooden wheel. And this is what I found. This is a 9-inch oak wooden wheel, and it's made with a CNC machine. Do you know what that is, Shell? A CNC machine is a router that's hooked up to a computer that tells the router where to go. And they have, the computer has a preset, you can make any pattern that you want. So you can make 5-inch wheels, you can make however big of wood you've got. So you can make great big ones out of plywood. Or for solid pieces of wood, oak is a pretty wide, you can get oak in wide boards. And so I got 2 of these and they were on sale. This kid he makes all kinds, down in Florida, he makes all kinds of wheels and various wood things with his CNC machine that he sells online. And he had these on sale for 2 for $32. So I've got an extra one that I'll probably sell to one of the people on my Facebook group that has these machines. And so this machine, that Singer Patcher right there, and it's worth probably $1,500 now, maybe at least, because see, I made the table. I made the accessory table with it. So it's worth a lot more, and it's all cleaned up and repaired and everything. But pretty soon it's going to have this wheel right there on the front. And on the wheel, it will have the little handle, just like the other one. And the handle will be able to spin. One thing I need to still fix is the little drawer. So this is the drawer. And when I bought it, these are the little sliders that the drawer goes on underneath the table. And I haven't fixed that yet, but that's just a cosmetic thing, you know. But with this, I have to make it thicker. So I have to add another piece in the center. I have to add a 1/2 inch piece in the center. And then I have to drill the hole 1 1/8 inch in the middle with a paddle bit. It comes with I had him just leave it. He could have put any size hole up to like 1 inch or something, a 1/2 inch or something. But I wanted to just drill it myself because I have to add another piece onto here and then drill a 1 1/8 inch hole on there. And then I have to put one other little hole on there to secure it so that it doesn't spin. And then I'll have a really cool custom machine that has a wooden wheel, and who knows, maybe it might be the only wooden wheeled one in the world. It's a lot better to have a nice light wheel on the front gear and have that heavy one on the side. So that's another thing I've been doing. I redesigned the foot friend inserts, and I'll show you those. So I just ordered another 10 foot friends, and I only have one of these left now in stock. I just sold one to someone in the UK and shipped that out a couple of days ago. So I needed to order more of these. But I wanted to redesign the blades so that they're wider. So I'll show you what the old blades look like. So you've probably seen the foot friend multi-tool, right? And then it has inserts, different inserts that slide into it. And these are so tight, they're like airtight. When you push that in, you feel the air slide out through the sides. Okay, and there's 4 different blades. But they're only that wide. These need to be sanded down a little bit before I ship them so they slide in easier. So there's different ones, right? And they slide in. But I wanted to make an additional insert that's for the heel, that's like a goal post. And I wanted to make all of these wider. So the simple answer to do that is this. Here's the patterns. Okay, it's not rocket science. It's simple. All you have to do is make it like a T. That one's called the hump tool because it's got a hump in the center. And then there's this one. And this one will just be flat and it'll have an edge. The edge tool is so good. It's really, really good. So the edge is like this. Can you see how it's not round? It has two edges on it. That edge strips fascia so good. And so that's what this one is. So what that does is it just makes the whole thing wider. Instead of being 6 inches wide in the center, now it's damn near 8 inches wide. Okay, so here's the new tool. Okay, so this one has to be a cut. I have to finish this one. The woodworker is going to make these for me most of the way. But then I finish the inside of this according to the width of the customer's heel. So the customer is going to have to measure how wide their heel is and then tell me in the notes section on checkout page. And then I'll custom make this width just right for their heel. Now they'll be able to order more than one of these. Like if there's a husband and wife and he's like 6'8" and she's like 5 foot tall and his heel is about that wide and her heel is about that wide, they'll have to get two different ones. But the other thing is that that one may have to have a pin going through it. So there's these pins that have a ring on the outside of them. And they might even have a little ball inside with a spring. And they're about, you can buy them about that long. I have to drill a hole all the way through this so that you can push the pin in so that the thing won't come out, so that this will stay in there. See, because if you're pulling up and down with your heel, this will want to pull out if there's no pin. That's what I think will happen. I think I'll have to have a pin put in there. But that's not a big deal. I can easily do that. So that's another thing. There's so many things I've been doing. I've improved my diet. Oh man. It's time to paint. Do you want to see me do that? Okay. I would normally let this dry a little bit longer, but it's okay. See how it's still a little bit white? But it's dry enough. So I just put my hand in it like that. Check out my cup got hit by a tree. It got hit by a falling tree, but it's still usable. Okay, so first I paint the outside edge like this. Like, seriously, this is how easy it is to make shoes. I'm going to teach the world how to make these freaking shoes. And then everyone can have a fun art project and make their own shoes. And I kind of get the feeling that these shoes are going to last for a long time. I might even make like a kit where people can buy the wool and the hemp, for 20 bucks or something. Okay, so after I do the outside like that, and I do the bottom. And you can see that where I wrapped it around the bottom, the hemp, it's actually like tread. I was thinking that I could make money with a class teaching people how to do this, and people would come and make a pair of shoes. But it would take like a 2-day class. Whereas I could just make a couple of videos and teach everybody that and just do that for free. Which is probably what I'll do. I'm too busy to teach classes anyway. Okay, well, there you go. That's pretty much all there is to it. So every hour I have to do that for the next 2 days. Uh-huh. Okay, let's do the other one. Shell, I hope that you are well. I noticed you were calling yourself by like your maiden name, I think, and I was like, uh-oh. I hope that Sean is okay. Is it Wilkinson or something? You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. Huh? So on the sides, you have to make it thin, because it's up and down and you don't want it to drip. Whereas on the bottom, you can make it thicker. Okay. art is a really peaceful thing and good for your health, I think. You know what I mean? Art projects. There's so many people that are into art here in this county where I live because we have a big art school. I think it takes probably more like an hour and a half for this to get dry enough. If you want to be more correct, probably wait for an hour and a half in between coats. Okay. There. Now I just set it on the jar. And then to not waste latex, I squeeze it out. And then I always wash this out and reuse it over and over again. And I can use these about 20 different times. So that's what I have to do every hour and a half or so for the next couple of days. Probably about 30 coats or 40, something like that, before it's thick enough for shoes. So now in astrology, the planet Saturn is going back into Pisces. And I am really feeling it. And so that's one of the things that's prompting me to get away from the extremes that I mentioned in the beginning of this video. But that's been an ongoing thing. You've probably heard me talking about how I can't stand things like the news. I can't stand things that are like winning. You know, winning and losing, it's been bothering me for a long time. The whole concept of it, you know what I mean? Because when the Padres win, it's like everyone is so happy in the locker room. And when they lose, it's like everyone is so sad. The drama of the whole fucking thing. It's just, it drives me nuts. I can't stand it anymore. I cannot stand drama anymore. And especially between extreme things in this world. And so that and the news and I can always, even though I'm still totally dedicated to Ukraine and them winning, their freedom. They need their freedom. You can call it whatever you want, but they need to gain their freedom. And I still support you animals and the Love Furry Friends. And I'm now supporting this guy on YouTube. I can't remember his name now. He is an amazing Russian that goes out and helps these people that are like, you think people are poor and downtrodden here in the US, in the ghetto? You should see people living in the frozen tundra in Russia, in shacks, in Siberia, 20 degrees below zero. And they only live to be 55 or something. So this guy, he's like a Russian angel. He was washing this dude. I don't know if he was a nurse or whatever, but this guy that walks with a cane, he's like 55 years old, and he looks like he's damn near dead, and he's living in this shack. He brought him out, and he gave him a haircut, and he washed his whole naked body, other than he had shorts on for the YouTube video, but the other part he didn't. The part that he probably cut out, he washed his whole body for him down with just water that he had in a 5-gallon jug, right? And he goes out and he tries to help people that are just total alcoholics. There's so many alcoholics in Russia. This guy, his father is in construction. And you know how lucrative construction is. And so that's how he's able to fund somehow something like that. And also he has a lot of subscribers on YouTube and people like me that donate to him on Patreon. And so if you want, I'll tell you his name. The channel, I can only watch it for so long, really. I'll check in, I'll watch it, and it's really a lot of what's, once again, drama. But he just bought a house that he's going to fix up, probably with his dad's help. The guy is about 45. This guy is about 45. And he's going to fix up a house that had been abandoned for a long time. He's going to gut it and fix it up. And then he's going to have these poor people live there. It's just going to be a house for poor people to live at, these homeless people to live at. Exactly what that entails, I do not know. But that's what he says. And I'll tell you, let me check out his channel real quick, and I'll tell you what it is. But I like to support people like on Patreon and also just directly, like the Orangutan Project I support every month. Great charity. And PAWS, Performing Animal Welfare Society, various ones. Vasa in the hay. I'll show you what his channel looks like. VASYA. Now check this out. Shell, you would like this one. See this woman right here? This woman is actually a doctor, I think. But she no longer practices, and you should see, she's a natural health person. She's totally into natural health, and I think she's actually vegan. I'm going to turn it down so that I don't get in trouble here. But this is the guy, and he does a little introduction in the beginning. But you can see her working with a sickle, and these are her little girls. Look at her cute, cute, cute little healthy little girls. This one is the cutest little shit. And they're all running around barefoot. And this is the shack they live in. It looks kind of like the cabin my grandpa used to have at Strawberry Reservoir. They got potatoes. But this is one of the nice videos that he's done about some poor people in Russia. They don't have, it's just a dirt floor in the basement. Anyways, so it's called Vasya in the hay, and I don't know what that means. Don't ask me. But that's one of his recent videos. But you should see the most recent one with that guy that he gave a bath in his yard. He gave him a bath in his yard. I could do that because I've been a massage therapist. I'm used to working on people's bodies. Bodies, schmodies, bodies. The thing with me is that I can really appreciate a beautiful body, That's what I'm trying to get. And I'll tell you some of the foods that I've gotten rid of now. So I recently told you that I got rid of peanut butter, peanuts, and all nut butters. And since I did that, oh my God, because I've cut down on those fats so much, I still eat nuts and seeds, but I only eat them. I eat them in a lot more natural quantities than butters. When you eat nut butters, you're eating crap loads. There's no way without machines that you could ever eat that much nuts and seeds without the use of mechanical machines. Okay, so when I got rid of nut butters, mostly peanut butter and almond butter, and I completely quit peanuts because I know I'm allergic to it. Now, I needed that for a long time to get off mass-produced meat, mostly, but other fatty foods and toxins and viruses and bacteria in my body. I needed that. It's a God-given food that helps you to get off of extreme foods. And so I used it to my advantage. But there comes a time when you have to graduate. And this is after you've been doing this for so long, natural healing for so long, you come to this understanding and realization that healing never ends. It's always one step on to the next. It's just like walking or running. And the more you understand that and many other things, the more you understand that this life is the same way. And after this life ends, it's just another progression onto another existence. Exactly what that existence is, I cannot tell you. All I know is that when I look at those stars up in the sky, I know that's a clue. Many, many clues. If you open your eyes and you see the different things happening in your life, then you realize that they are clues. And you put 2 and 2 together. It's very simple. You just put 2 and 2 together. And you start to realize that everything is meant to be. You realize that you're being guided by something far bigger than yourself. You realize that you're just one single little entity, one single person, a special person, but just one person. and you evolve. You evolve spiritually, you evolve mentally, you evolve physically, emotionally. Just like right now. See, what's happened to me over time is that I've gradually had to get rid of the most extreme foods, the foods that were the most unnatural. I've also now gotten rid of, for the most part, the news, because I realized that it was just something that I needed to maintain my stress level before. But gradually, hopefully, I'll continue to get mellow more and relaxed, and all my muscles, physically, my mind will get less stressed. My muscles in my forearms and my feet and everywhere else are getting softer. I don't need to hold in tension anymore because I'm working my ass off to get all the toxins and chemicals and bacteria and parasites and everything else out. And when you do that, you no longer have to hold in stress by watching the news. See, because the news, when you watch it, it makes you stressed and tense mentally. And when you are stressed and tensed mentally, it makes you stressed and tensed physically, literally. You're tensing up your muscles from watching a car crash on the news. Your mind is becoming stressed from watching Gaza. Okay? So I assume that eventually I won't need any of that anymore. It will just be like, I'll just say, well, I don't need that, just like I don't need Wonder Bread anymore. I don't need pizza anymore. And I don't need to watch a shark attack. I know that the sharks are going to eat, they want to eat something. And if they see a human swimming in the beach at Daytona Beach, they might decide to eat it this year, or in 10 years, or in 50 years. I know that that's not going to change. Is there any particular reason why I need to watch it again? Because I already understand about that situation. I already know that there's going to be mass shootings. There's going to be mass shootings this year, next year, and in 20 years. As long as the NRA wants there to be guns, and as long as there are violent people, they will need guns to protect themselves. And so there's going to be nutcases also with guns. You see what I mean? There's always going to be Democrats fighting with Republicans about something. Do I need to watch it? Hopefully, in the future, no. Who's still with me? Is there anybody still out there? There's 3 people. Are you still there with me, Shell? Or did you exit stage left? So, I guess we're just about done with this Sunday Night Live. I hope that everyone is well. Weller than me. But I'm all right. It's just transition, that's all. So be prepared for the 7th of September. That is an eclipse full moon in Pisces. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Yep. Eclipse full moon in Pisces. And so that is going to be a hairy time. And so take it easy, relax, and don't stress out too much during that time and all this time leading up to it. Thanks so much for joining me.